Welcome to News Cafe. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Tonight, we've got Asia's premier vocal harmony act, the most awarded recording vocal group in the Philippines, with 46 music industry awards received in the group's 29-year lifespan. Welcome to News Cafe, the company. Hello.
Yes.
Hello, guys. So we have Annie Quintos,
Yes.
Moy Ortiz,
Here.
Sweet Plantado. Of course, we have Jay Marquez and Cecil Bautista. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Finally! I've
Yes,
been wanting to have you all
I'm
here.
a fan of the show, Mitzi.
And I'm a fan of the company. Now let's start on how this group started. No, mostly it was formed in Ateneo. No,
That's
Moy,
right.
tell us
Annie?
about it.
Well, back in, back last year.
Back during the Japanese
year.
time.
Yes. Well, we were part of the Ateneo College Glee Club, Cecil, Moy, and myself. And after we had graduated, we still wanted to continue singing. So although we did have jobs then, we'd meet every Friday and we'd just rehearse and sing and, just for that void. There was a void that we wanted to fill.
Withdrawal symptoms from
Yes.
choir singing.
All of you were in the choir. That's
Yes.
right.
So after a few months had passed, nothing was happening. We were just rehearsing. So we needed an audience. And one of the members then owned...
Italian Village. That's like a restaurant.
Yes.
Italian
Yeah.
restaurant.
And she said, we can only pay you with pizza and pasta.
When you're a student, hey,
Yes,
that's
why
not
not?
bad.
So we did a Friday gig for about a month. And it was in that...
One of those Fridays.
One of those Fridays,
Yeah.
Ryan Cayabyab, who's a friend of the a
Of the
friend,
Glee Club,
said, "Why don't can I use you for show?" He was musical director of, and this was for
Celeste
Celeste's
Legazpi at the
Okay.
Cultural Center of the
at the
Philippines.
yes. So that was in
85 pa lang yan, ha?
85 pa lang yan, ah. This is an
85.
hour show, so
2 decades ago.
we got
we'll
the
walk
time.
through your
We got the
memory lane.
So from there, one thing led to another. Our director there said, I'd like to use you guys as well. We were backup singers at that point.
That's right.
So there's one Celeste Legazpi and 12 of us.
We were
Imagine
12.
12.
Yes. And so one show led to another, and eventually, I think by the third year or fourth year, we said, let's try to have at least one number with
As headliner, not just
not as backup singers.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, we really love
Nothing
doing that
wrong,
work.
but we also wanted to show
we had
that.
other aspirations. So to
Oh,
speak.
yes.
So to speak.
So from there, I think it was in 1990 that we had our first
It was
recording.
5 years to get our
Yeah.
recording deal.
Yeah.
And from 12, you went to 6 to 5. Then there were 5.
And then
What
there were
happened?
5.
What happened? Why did that? I mean, of course, it grew.
This
over the
really
years.
wasn't a I mean, me personally, I have to fess up with them. Ever since as a child, I mean, I wanted to be a harmony singer. I knew that was what I was going to do with my life. But for most of them, they didn't have any plans of getting into this in a professional way. It just happened that one referral led to another referral. So some people, the people who left said, we didn't sign up for this. This was meant to be like a therapy club, and it's becoming professional. So people left, and they had other life goals, so to speak,
careers.
life goals.
Yes.
So, but Annie and I are from that batch, from the 1985 batch, and we're the old timers in the group, and these are the new.
Ang kuya at ate.
So
Ganon.
kuya and ate. So yun.
In terms of the genre, it's hard to classify you. Of course, the vocal. I mean, you guys touch on everything. How would you classify? Would anyone like to talk about what? Because you guys just really do all musical genres.
Well, I wasn't part of the group in 1985, but I do know that they were categorizing themselves as a jazz group. In fact, they were so snooty at that time that they would choose the hardest pieces imaginable, and they would perform intricate harmonies, so much so that let's say it now, some people really couldn't relate, and they had a hard time getting an audience. They
couldn't get a job.
Elitist kayo.
Yeah, there were
Masyado.
instances where they performed to
Just
nearly parang tables and chairs lang talaga. Like you tell me.
Imagine that.
Really?
And now sold out shows. Imagine once upon
God
a
is
time.
good.
So
Yeah.
over the years, we've learned to reinvent ourselves and do more pop singing as directed by our producers, so that we could be radio accessible, because that's the way to go, so that people would be familiar with our music, we had to be on radio and on TV. And if you were doing purely jazz, that's really not the way to go.
Difficult.
Now let's talk about your individual experiences, because all of you are really talented. You've come, as you said earlier, some of you are backup singers. Everybody, I think, was in a choir. Jay, maybe you were also in a choir.
I was in a choir in high school in Lourdes, Mandaluyong.
Yeah.
And then in De La Salle, I also joined the De La Salle Chorale for a while. And then I got into musical theater.
You're with another band also, Q&A, before you
Yes, a
joined.
Q&A.
Really
and
did your
Noisy
research.
I have to do
Neighbor.
my research. It's scary. I'm with the company.
Yeah, Q&A and Noisy Neighbors. And I was a voice talent for commercials as well.
Yes, you and Moy also, right? Moy, you've done commercial jingles, commercial corporate jingles. How
You
is
know,
that?
early on, like our mentor, aside from Ryan Cabiab, there's this well-respected working musician called Babsi Molina. She did backup for everyone for 4 decades. Early on, she told me, the more you have to offer in this industry, the more jobs you get. And that really stuck with me. So anything that's possible. I mean, right now we teach, Sweet and I teach at Mint College. But, you know, from arranging to producing albums and producing live concerts. What else do I do? Musical direction and all.
You write a lot of
Compose,
songs.
right?
I
you
write
compose
songs,
and-
yeah. So, I mean, the more skills you have, the more jobs you get. And just like any other industry.
Yes. Sweet, you're
The
also...
queen of reinvention. She does everything. You ask
Choir
her.
daw. I was in
teacher.
UP College of Music, and then my teacher was Ryan for music theory, and then he got me to teach in his school, the Ryan Cabiab Music Studio.
I think we all did.
All of you,
Cecil.
practically,
Yes.
no?
Yeah, Cecil
But
Daniel.
when I was there, they weren't teaching na eh. But I would see you, hi, the company, mga ganun pa ako.
As
Yes,
I said,
ay, the company.
we are the old timers.
Yes, yeah, and then I was still in school, but I was teaching the pop, the kids who want pop and musical theater. And then after that, si Mr. C again, Mr. Ryan Cabiab, and let me join Tanghalang Pilipino CCP. So theater.
Yeah.
My theater life began 1993. And then I joined trumpets 94.
Yeah.
And then 96 was Metro Pop. There I
Yes, you won the second prize. That was the
Ayun,
second
ganun ba?
prize for
It's
Shine.
Yes,
By Trina Villamil,
by
the
Trina
Metro
Impeccable
Villamil.
research there.
The composer of Now That I Have You.
You all have similar music influences, no? I mean, you've also, do you
you'd be
think? No?
surprised. You'd be
Who would- yeah,
surprised.
let's see. What were some of your favorites for you?
I'd always listen to the Carpenters, Barbra Streisand, and a lot of classical music.
Yeah.
But you were also... no, that's Sweet. Sweet is into musical theater.
Yes, and also Manhattan Transfer
Yes,
because my parents are
Basha.
musicians. So,
So it's in
so
the
old
blood.
soul ako.
Oh,
You
so
forgot
grew
to
up with
tell
that.
Mitzi, you are also a film actress. Tell them.
daming-
she had a
daming
debut
Many
film.
hats, many
Doobie
hats.
Doobie
No,
Doo.
it's 2 years ago. I was
Oh,
part of this
okay.
movie musical, I Doobie Doobie
Ah,
Doo.
yes, of
The
course.
Apple
right?
tribute.
Oo,
Movie
movie
musical.
experience. Oo.
Huh?
Ikaw, Jay.
I think the one thing we have in common is the Manhattan Transfer. I remember
Yes.
watching a TV show, I think it was 1978, and I saw them in a kids show, maybe Electric Company. They
Yeah.
guested and they sang Operator, and I got hooked into harmony singing since then. I got interested. I didn't do it. I got interested, but then because I started singing and singing, my mom had to buy, and my dad a karaoke machine. So
You were
so I
hooked.
started singing, and she made me go to Green Hills Music Studio for voice lessons and piano.
That's
And
where
that's how it started
Yeah.
for me. And Manhattan Transfer. Yeah.
All of your music. Cecil.
Musical influence, same. Manhattan Transfer, Barbra Streisand, The Carpenters, Sergio Mendes, Diana Ross.
It's funny, her audience is going to say, they are mentioning
Yeah,
all
they're dating
vintage.
themselves.
But these have been
Vintage,
remade. What is interesting is all of these are classics, and they could.
Yeah.
When you hear, in fact, when I heard it before, I didn't realize many of them. Some of the songs today are songs of before. So it's good. It's education through all through music.
And you know what? A good song doesn't have an expiration date.
Right.
A good song is a good song in any decade.
That's right. Now, how do you choose the songs that you? Because so you reinvent songs. How do you choose what you perform and the arrangements? Because all of you are also arrangers in your own right.
Yes.
Who takes charge usually?
Well, that is my area of responsibility. Choosing the direction, musical direction. I'm basically, in terms of the direction, in terms of the music, and also artistic choices where the group should go artistically, also image-wise. That would be me. So I think if, you know, recreating something is, we're not really interested in that. We're more interested in how can we make this beautiful song our own. You have to put your own stamp on the material.
And we have to take a quick break right now. When we return, we'll talk about the company's music through the years and their foray into television.
Ng pusong ito at hanggang ngayon ay naaalala pa. Muntik na kitang minahal. Ngayon ay aminin ko na sana nga'y tayong dalawa. Bawat tanong mo'y iniwasan ko. Akala ang pag-ibig mo ay di totoo. Di ko alam kung anong nangyari. Damdamin ko sa'yo'y hindi ko nasabi. Hanggang ang puso mo'y napagod sa paghihintay kahit tagal. Saka ko lang naisip, muntik na kita. Saka ko lang naisip.
This is News Cafe, and we have the company lighting things up here. All right, guys, let's get into the music. Now, it's very difficult to do what you do because harmonizing is not easy, you know?
It's a different skill, you know. I mean, you have to get into a different space and different head. Harmony singing is really different space. It's a different skill, so to speak. I mean, it just doesn't require you to carry a tune, because
You need to find your place in a chord.
So I'm going to ask you to sing one of my favorite songs. I remember I was in high school at the time, and I heard this song called Everlasting Love. And I thought, I know what everlasting love means. Of course I didn't. I knew it because of the song, but how could I know what everlasting
Stop
love
the bus. In 1990, you were in high school.
Somewhere there, maybe I'm lying.
Amazing, amazing.
But I remember that song. I mean, that's a beautiful song. And that changed basically redefined the group, didn't it?
It did. That was the very first song first pop song that we recorded on the first album.
Reluctantly, but
why reluctantly?
Because we weren't to jazz, remember?
Yes.
Remember, we were musical snobs and actually, let's say it, musical bigots at that time. Ang feeling namin Atenista kami, we don't sing any old song there.
UP!
LaSalle.
It's good that we're the same. We're both from LaSalle, right? Are we?
I'm not.
Yes, we are.
She chose right. She chose right. She went with the
should not judge a person by their
Jesuits.
school. But anyway, so Everlasting Love propelled the group to a different
It did.
direction.
I mean, you wake up one morning and then we've been working. By the time we recorded Everlasting Love, 5 years had gone by.
Yeah.
And it was a difficult 5 years because we were just doing jazz and a cappella.
Hunger Games.
The Hungry Years.
Hunger Games, very, very current. And then you won the best album for Yun Na.
Won a lot. Best composition, best. I mean,
Best new group.
Best new group. So
Galing.
it totally changed the course of our career.
So could we hear a little bit
Sige,
of that
sample.
now?
Darling, did you know that something happened to us? Right before the future and right after the past. Did you smile? What a wonderful thing it was. We found an everlasting love.
Oh, I love that song. I think everybody falls in
key?
love. Doesn't matter. Another love song that
Doesn't
comes
matter.
in. No, it was. We're always on key. The company always on key. I saw this listed in one of the 10 top OPM love songs, romance songs. Now That I Have You. Yes, it's come out. I think this is something people think of when they think of love. Tell us about that song. How is it?
written by Trina
Trina
Belamide, who's also Atenista and also part of the Ateneo College Glee Club. I was able to travel with her in the 1989 European tour of the Glee Club, and that's how I got to know her. And then she graduated from college, and then she intended to go to advertising, and then I said, try songwriting, and then she gave us the song.
The song that I'll be singing my whole life through. I'm living in a brighter world now that I have you.
Trina loves the Carpenters also, same as us.
But it started out as a jazzy,
Yeah.
jazz up
now that I
song.
have it.
Yeah.
Evolved, kind
It
of.
did,
the-
you know, and then she gave us the song. I said, it lacks a little something, so she decided to write a bridge, and then things fell into place. We were looking for, after the success of Everlasting Love, we were looking for a nice love song that would also fit our group sound. So this came out in '92.
Yes.
So the second album, and you know how, you know, that phenomenon, sophomore jinx and things like that. So I was the monster of the group because I said, this is not going to happen to our group, the sophomore jinx. So we really made sure that the material for the second album was really good. And for that second album, we came up with two big hits, original hits, Now That I Have You and Muntik Na Kitang Minahal. So we were very blessed because that meant the success of the second album meant that the first album wasn't a fluke.
Yes.
After struggling for 5 years, so it wasn't a fluke. So thank you, God.
Right,
It
just you
wasn't a
keep
fluke.
rising, it doesn't stop. In 2005, to celebrate your 20th anniversary, you did an anthology album.
That's
Is
right.
that right? The company, this was called
Our
the,
20th.
yes,
The
it was a
anthology.
double CD.
Yes.
Tell us, how did that come into, why did you think of doing this? This is quite a big project.
20th anniversary.
Yeah.
It was a strange year for us. We were celebrating our 20th anniversary. We were going to have this big show at the CCP, but unfortunately, because of many circumstances, we were losing 2 members after the big CCP show. So we said, you know, we don't know if we are going to continue after 2005, so let's really commemorate it and celebrate the milestone, so to speak. So we decided to come up with a greatest hits compilation, but not just a compilation. It has radio interviews and it had our music videos. So it was sort of a mini CD box.
Yeah. It had a 44-page booklet.
Yeah,
Wow.
everything, because I'm a rat pack. I keep everything.
Collector's item.
So so we worked on the booklet. We worked on. I think up to this day that anthology CD set is our best-selling CD so far.
Yeah, and this kind of propelled you towards your television career because in 2006 you started working in television. So of course the Pinoy Dream Academy, you know,
Pinoy Dream
suddenly all these musical reality shows were coming out, and you.
It's a wonderful launching pad. You get known by the whole world because ngayon, where they produce those shows, but they have international TV. So you get known by the whole world. You get instant fame.
Social media, you're
Correct.
just really.
Yeah.
You know,
So it's I mean, you know how tough it is. Tapos tayong mga Pinoy, we're so musical. Everyone sings very well. So it's a good launching pad, but it does not guarantee you a career with long legs.
Right.
But that's up to you. It's not up to the network to take care of that. So,
Right.
but it is, to answer your question, yes, it is a valid and a wonderful way to get your name out there.
Yes, and it's wonderful that you also help people like this because you launched an audio and video kit called The Company Presents Discovering the Singing Champion in You.
Yes.
So what were the key tips
I
maybe
think that was
come out here?
that was also a first for the it was
The
how do you
first,
call
yes,
that?
it was
yeah,
the
I think
first.
it's a DVD instructional.
Instructional, that's what it
Correct.
is, yeah.
Correct.
You have basic vocal warm-up, workout exercises for the contemporary pop singer.
There are physical exercises also because when you perform, you use your entire body. So you have to be in good condition. So exercise is really good, and we do that.
Stretching.
Like
I know
what?
it's
Like what?
Mitzi.
Stretching
Like stretching
exercises.
of the
So
like
regular,
that.
okay,
Yeah.
so it's not
So
just
it-
the vocalization.
Oh,
Okay.
and the whole thing, the whole 9 yards. Ano pa?
Well, basically, if you work with when you work with the body, you just stretch the body, make sure that it's relaxed and ready to do anything to physicalize and to help you bring out the voice, bring out good vocals, and then you work out the vocal cords,
you warm up
the
the
vocal
instrument,
cords,
of
yes.
course, so.
And you start with simple exercises just to slowly wake it up, and you know.
There are some funny ones too, like the trilling is funny,
Yes.
isn't it?
And the dog pant, you have that. But that was really basically done as a warm-up. It's not meant to replace a vocal lesson, because you do need immediate feedback from the teacher. But we put that out as a warm-up for singers out there, professional and amateur singers.
And for those who are maybe in the provinces who may not
who
have
do not
access.
have access to
No
schools.
proper
Teacher,
mentors or
yes.
teachers, yes.
Although now, of course, they can easily go to YouTube and all of that. But we did it in a way where it's very, very accessible. The mode of speech was Taglish, mostly Tagalog. So it was conceived and produced for a wider Filipino market, so to speak.
In that DVD, I remember we really explained how to do it. So we wanted a DVD, a video, not just the audio.
Yeah, so you can see.
Yeah.
So, it's visual.
Yeah, when
Right.
you just listen, even in the 80s, I would see vocal warm-up tapes. It's dangerous lang if you don't know what's happening. Because there's no explanation.
Physiologically speaking.
So in that video, we explain that this is what happens when you do it. Because our instrument
good.
is inside, we can't
Correct,
see
it's
it.
internal.
Yes.
So there.
So it's good to be aware, or you have your
Yes.
body work.
It's still out, by the way. It's still
You
out.
can
Viva
still buy it.
Video. It's still out, and we're very happy. I mean, everywhere we go in the country, people say that we buy your DVDs, and that DVD of that instructional, it does help.
Yeah. And
We're
with
happy.
that, 2 albums followed. You had the Christmas album and then
Oh,
Destination
yes.
Bossa.
Yes,
No,
yes,
after
another reinvention. I think that is also, aside from the anthology album, the Christmas album is also a bestseller. Thank you to the Philippine star music writer, Baby Hill, who keeps on endorsing it year after year. We're very proud of that.
timeless.
That was her second Christmas album.
It's my first.
Her first, the first one was
Jace.
in 1993. But that was like a Christmas album of original songs.
Yeah.
This the one you just mentioned, in 2006, we did covers. Maybe we can sing a cut from that here.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll find out how the company have reinvented themselves through the years.
Sigla ng gabi, ang lahat ay kay saya. Nagluto ang ate ng manok na tinola.
Sa bahay ng kuya ay mayroong litsunan pa. Ang bawat tahanan may halang lipat-lipat. Tayo na. Oh, kahit sigla ng gabi, tayo ay sobrang saya. Nagluto daw ang ate, nagluto ng tinola. Sa bahay ng kuya ay mayroong litsunan pa. Ang bawat tahanan may halang lipat-lipat. Tayo na, hihil, magsalong na tayo. Mayroon na tayong tinapay at keso. Viva Noche Buena sa gabing ito, at bukas ay araw ng Pasko. Tayo na, hihil, magsalo na tayo. Meron na tayo, tinapay at keso. Noche Buena sa gabing ito, at bukas ay araw ng Pasko. Tayo na, giliw, magsalo na tayo. Meron na tayo, tinapay at
You're watching News Cafe, and we're joined by the company. We have Sweet, Moy, Annie, Jay, and Cecil. All right, let's talk about some of the workshops you've done. You have also done summer vocal workshops. Who would like to discuss that? What happens in these vocal workshops?
Okay.
Take us through a sample
All right.
workshop.
I started with trumpets 1990.
Something.
And then I joined CompanY 1999. I remember we were doing my first album with them, Recycle Deluxe 2, and our recordings are scheduled in the afternoon. So I took a morning class. I've been teaching adult classes, but that year I taught the children's class, and then we needed a teacher pa. So I asked Annie, can you teach children's class? So I got her to teach, and a few years later, I asked the whole group to do a pop class workshop. So trumpets, we try to offer different classes, different courses every year. So what year was that? When you first?
I think after
2007?
Pinoy Dream Academy,
Yeah,
so 2007.
2007.
Oh,
2008.
yes.
After my memory.
Yeah. So they Simoy and Annie, they handled this
Cecil
pop.
also, yes.
Pop
And
class.
the point is, it's not a pagalingan ng boses.
Proper training.
It's communication. It's telling the story right. What is the intent of the song? Servicing the song.
Yeah.
Because most of Pinoys are really good musically. So
That's right.
you don't have to teach them how to sing, because they do know how to sing. The main point is how to communicate what the intent of the song is.
Well, it's wonderful to have all these opportunities, because back in the day, people had to leave the country for opportunities like this, but you are bringing it to the
Oh,
country.
it's wonderful.
Actually, I remember saying that sayang no when
art
if there were
Wala
during our
pang
time,
ganon, no?
sana may ganon.
Right. Now the kids, they all have these specialized courses na, and it's available here. So so it's a nice way also, Mitzi, at this point in our careers, that you pass it on, you pay it forward
exactly,
to the next.
giving back.
And instead na iswapang mo ang skills mo,
Tama.
you share it.
Right,
You share
especially
it.
like you're saying, the Filipinos are such musical people, so many talents. So what do you think of the artists nowadays? I mean, of course, the style has evolved. Now we have all this technology. You've composed a lot of songs for some young
Yes.
artists.
I've produced and written songs for many Filipino
Do you have any
artists.
favorites? You're not
I do,
allowed
but
to say.
I do, but let's say the right thing here.
Yeah.
But there is no, how do you say this? There is no drought, or how do you dito, hindi nagkukulang sa talent dito. I mean,
Sobra nga eh.
Sobra na talaga.
I
That's
mean,
awesome.
and in any, this is our 29th year, and we've been in the industry long enough to see, the changing of the guards.
Yes.
But in every generation and in every reign of whoever the pop stars or the music stars of the generation are, you have brilliant people always. So it's not just, we don't want to be like old farts, can I say that? And say now the kids these days, they're no good, because they are really exceptional.
Yeah.
Sarah Geronimo can sing and dance. Between Escalante, we consider her the best singer in the land ever.
Yes.
So, but having said that, each generation builds on what was done before. Like for our group, we have to give props to the new minstrels, Ambivalent Crowd, and all of these people who did good vocal work in the 70s and in the 80s too. So hopefully there will be, there are new vocal groups now, and a cappella is doing very well.
You've done some collaborations too. Like you also worked with Basil Valdez on his Christmas album.
Not the
What was
Christmas
that?
album.
Sorry. Basil S. Valdez, I'm sorry. Basil S. Valdez album.
Yes,
Is that it?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
So how do you feel about these collaborations? Do you choose the artist? Of course, they choose you, but do you have a preference for the style? And
We're asked. we are asked, you know. Yeah, and
And I think it's an
It's a
honor and a
privilege.
privilege.
It's a bonus to be
do it,
working
yeah.
with these people
Basil.
we've looked up to for so many years.
know.
Basil is the soundtrack of our high school.
I know.
Yes.
At 77, I mean, in Basel, it was with Circus Band, of
Yes.
course, no? But when he exploded in 77 as a solo artist, I mean, everyone bought Basil. So it's really a thrill. The latest collaboration we did is a duet. We're part of the duets album of Pilita. He's the grande dame
classic.
of OPM,
Oh.
no? And, you know, everyone was there. All the A-listers, they were there. Regine, Martin, Sharon.
Yeah.
And they put us in the list. So we were really flattered. Here is a group, and they put us in the list. So it's
So,
really
yeah.
a privilege. I mean,
Recently, too, you performed in the Quezon City 75th anniversary and quite a
The,
cast.
yeah.
How was that?
Very recently.
Very recently. Kumusta naman
Yes,
yun?
it was a bit
Ikwento mo, ikwento.
unnerving because, you know, like in most big productions, they have a
Teleprompter.
teleprompter. So we had to learn the song just a couple of days before, even just
One
that
day.
just the
Not
day
the night.
before. So we're being very honest here. We didn't memorize the lyrics at all. So we were
Because there's a
relying on the
teleprompter.
teleprompter, and then when it came to our line, it stopped moving. And
Stopped
for the life of me, I couldn't remember the first word.
And everyone was looking
Happens
at
to
us.
the experts.
Sweet
It
remembered
Oh.
her line, but
But she had no
mic.
mic.
Solo ka na lang?
No, her mic wasn't
Patay
on.
ang mic niya.
Oh,
Patay ang
no.
mic. But moral of the lesson,
Oh,
memorize.
tama.
Always. I felt so bad. I should have.
We all did kasi
Memorize.
we had to
If
learn
the
pa little
prompter
harmony for
doesn't
that. And
It
none of it,
happens, yeah.
It happens. Well, it's life. Yeah, I had to arrange. I spent like an hour and a half to arrange that. And then the prompter didn't move. So we just went like that.
So this is one of those sayaw-sayaw na lang, no? Sayaw,
No,
what
it
do you
was
do in
just like a
such
solemn,
Sa bayan
anthemic.
ko and then mash up with Lupang Hinirang.
Everyone was looking at us. It's your
You
line.
couldn't ham
and we
it
were
up.
just going,
So these are some of the things that happen. Any other stories like that? You know, some of the things that
And it
happen
was
in
after
performance.
midnight. It happened after
Yeah.
midnight. So we were just, okay.
Medyo tired na
Tired.
kayo.
What? Oh.
Well, our
just some of these
experiences
key-
with the Manhattan Transfer.
Yes, you worked with the
Yes.
Manhattan Transfer. How did that
More
go?
than once, 3 times, you know?
Yeah, I think 3 times. As
Yeah.
in, they've become personal friends. They are
wonderful.
musical heroes.
this is your cue to say that you're Facebook friends.
So friends na kayo dahil
But they're
FB.
very, 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 very accommodating and very friendly and very warm. These are like the icons of jazz, the titans of harmony. And here we are, this little group of ours, and then they how nice that they affirm you and
Yes.
give you validation. For a hero to do that to you, I mean, that's like unheard of. And it happened in our
And
in
in
our
fact,
careers.
earlier this year, we were so touched and humbled because Janice Siegel invited us. She asked for
The
us to
Manhattan
be
Transfer,
part of her solo show in
At Soler.
Okay.
Excellent.
And we learned a song that she requested for us to sing with
Yeah.
her.
Shake a song. Bring Kibi
So many
for
good. So
me.
you performed with Basha, Kalapana.
Did. I'm sure, my
We
God.
also
these
met
were-
Richard Carpenter.
We sang
How
for
was
him.
that? What was that
Oh,
like? Wow.
surreal. It's just like meeting the Manhattan Transfer.
Sure, real.
Sure, and real.
No, she's Mitzi. She's not surreal.
I'm sure, and I know you're real. Well, that's amazing.
I mean,
you got to perform with these people you really looked up to. It's something
I mean,
else.
super nerd. I mean, with music, super nerd. I mean, I would make a vocal group in Bacolod and we would be in the costume of Manhattan Transfer. And cut to cut 20 years after, you're talking to
there.
them. They're nice to you. They're not condescending.
To this day, it's like a dream pa rin eh. Parang
Yeah.
hindi nangyari.
And with, because before people, of course, there was always a need for marketing purpose. People need to label you or categorize you.
Yes.
So we said, so what's your sound like? So we would always say, well, the hits sound like the Carpenters. But in the show, it's like a mix of Carpenters and Manhattan Transfer. And it's unbelievable. Here we are in the Philippines, in Manila, and we get to meet Richard Carpenter and the Manhattan Transfer. So you mean, what are the chances of that your lives would intersect with the people that you really look up the
See,
most
that's proof that when you really pursue your dream, you're good at what you do. Hey, you know.
In fact,
to? Planets align.
there's a little anecdote there. When we sang for Richard Carpenter, we sang this song that it was a special arrangement of his for Karen and
Yeah. Bacharach,
that
Hal
they-
David.
Yes, and
yeah.
it wasn't often that
Medley.
they perform that, and
No,
he was
no.
so surprised that we knew the arrangement.
So when we were singing, it was a private party. He didn't have a concert here. So when the song played, you could see his face go, "You're singing that?" But he was
Galing.
pleased with what we.
And I always like to tell them nowadays the generation, they know pentatonics. Now before
Oh,
pentatonics was
we
there,
do that.
the company was there even before pentatonics.
No, but
great.
oh my gosh.
They're great.
They're
Wow.
And we
aliens.
do their
You do their arrangements
we
also.
do their arrangements. They are amazing. Even the Manhattan Transfer, they love pentatonics.
Galing,
They,
galing
they're
talaga
amazing.
nila. All right. Well, time again for another break. When we come back, we'll talk about the company's experiences working with other artists and their group's signature progressive cutting-edge styles and stage production.
Beginning today, I promise you, I give my heart to you. Beginning today, I promise to never part from you. From now on, I will be right by your side, and I swear all the things I'll put aside. Beginning today. Beginning today. Beginning today, there's no one else on my mind. Beginning today, there's nobody else right here inside my heart. From now on, I will be right by your side, and I swear all the things I'll put aside. Beginning today. Beginning today.
This is News Cafe, and we are talking to the company. So you guys are known for your strong visual style. You
try.
really cutting edge, really excellent
try.
costumes. Who chooses? Who decides? Is there somebody that?
Our Optimus Prime mover.
So that's Moy. Okay.
Well, in terms of imagery also, and aside from the music, because that's very important, especially now more than ever. It was actually our former manager, Boy Abunda, who said, you got the music is respectable, he said. But you also, you shouldn't, no, I'm being facetious. But you shouldn't.
Spell facetious.
Never mind. I'm bad. There's no spell check in real life. But, no, but he said you shouldn't also neglect the visual aspect
As an artist,
of music.
yeah.
Right. So,
We had just returned from Japan.
yeah,
We had
1994.
in 94.
I love
and
their
that's
designs.
where our eyes were
You were
just
inspired,
open.
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, because you
oh
gravitate
my.
towards Japanese and European.
Yes,
designs, yeah.
and unusual designs, really. Even on stage, the production design of the show, because a lot of people are surprised when we do like a milestone concert. They would think that, this is the company, they sing love songs, they just stand and be sweet and be all schmaltzy and all. But the show is very, very theatrical. It's very, very visual. And we like that. We gravitate towards also visual artists like, Eurythmics or Bette Midler or Madonna. People who use not just the music, but the theatrical side of music.
It's a sensual overload somehow.
That's right.
isn't
And
it?
I
Yeah.
think most music artists go that way.
Lady Gaga, Katy Perry.
Katy Perry. It has to be visual.
Yeah.
And it's also one way to reinterpret and to physicalize the music on stage. We work with a lot of Filipino designers also, both the established and up people who are coming up.
Established and
And not established.
Well,
Yeah,
you talked
people
about
coming
earlier
up.
some of
Yeah.
these difficult shows, you're evolving with the shows. When you
Yeah.
did your first big band show, that was the Let's Kick Some Brass.
Oh, that was fun.
That was
CCP
fun.
Main Theater.
Yeah, how did you think that up? I mean, yeah, that was... That got 2 standing ovations.
Yes, thank you for
Excellent.
mentioning that. That was, wait, let me retrieve, 2007, is that right?
Yes, 2007.
2007,
First in
the
Davao, no? And then CCP.
Correct,
Yes.
and that was this is wonderful. We also got the imprimatur of Cultural Center of the Philippines. They co-produced it with us. And at that time, hindi pa masyadong common ang big band, ang tugtugang
Yeah.
big band. So we said, it's not the most commercial concept, but we wanted to show that music with a lot of brasses can be commercial. So the Act 1 was a lot of jazz and standards and even classical. Act 2 was really funky, dance music, R&B, and pop music. So that really went well. And delicado because that was the same night na Babyface was here.
Oh.
And then there were a lot of Filipino artists also who were holding their concerts that same night. So it was a tough sell, but napuno naman ang CCP. Thank God.
Then later on, another tribute, such iconic performances and albums that you do. In 2008, you had Group Hug, your 18th album.
Oh, yes.
So that was a tribute to your iconic and legendary music groups.
Yeah,
Jay,
we had the privilege of working with Maestro Jared Salonga. And at the time, the orchestra was called Philharmonica.
Yes.
It's the first symphonic album, right?
Yeah,
Of the
our-
company.
Yes, the
Yes.
company. Yes.
It was, the sound was just really beautiful, heavenly. It's like heaven on
An
earth.
orchestra. Wow.
And we
An
pay
orchestra.
tribute to groups, right?
That's why Group Hug.
Ah.
So Queen.
ABBA.
Can you believe we also did an
Manhattan.
electronic version of a song by Nirvana?
Galing!
Yeah,
So
and
eclectic.
We did
I love
Beatles.
how you do
Beatles, of course, Company. Who's
Yeah,
that?
well, we did. We did an original.
Oh yeah, there's
song.
an original written
Yeah,
by
yeah.
Moy.
So,
Nandito pa rin tayo.
It's so nice because basically, well, for the most part, Viva Records and Boss Vic Del Rosario gave us carte blanche, to do, artistically and musically, to go where we wanted to go, which is very, very rare in a music career, especially here in the Philippines. But imagine when we asked for a live album, sabi niya, okay, live album. He said yes. And then we gave him a live album, which was the 2002 CCP concert. It was all a cappella and classical music. I mean, it is really not the most commercial concept. But he said yes to it. And malaking utang na loob namin kay Boss Vic for giving us a recording career that
Well, you set quite a path for them. They've trusted you with it.
I know,
Yeah.
carte blanche, really.
Yeah.
Go where we had to go.
Yeah. Then later on, you had the Lighthearted album number 19, Lighthearted, followed by Lighthearted 2, ito naman acoustic.
Series
and
yan. It was a series, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was like, naturally we wouldn't think of this way na. It's mostly sa amin, Mitzi, it's like backward posturing. We would get classic songs and reinvent them. But Boss Vic said, no, try to do contemporary, forward thinking. Contemporary material at that time, 2010.
Much like Glee.
It's like Glee.
Exactly.
Galing, yeah. It
Yeah.
was like Glee. But we made it simpler, the arrangements simpler, so that it's more accessible.
Yes.
So lighthearted.
And lighthearted.
And that is the name of your new album, which you're launching, Hearted OPM 2.
Lighthearted OPM 2. It is the 4th album in the album series, Lighthearted OPM. It drops on October 24, and at the same time, on the same day, we are having an album launch concert at
Which
the
is
Music
sold
Museum.
out. Congratulations,
Thank
but
you,
hey,
thank you,
sorry.
Thank you very much.
We'll see bits of that. I love that you get a CD when you buy the ticket. 295 pesos for your ticket, and you get the CD.
And you get the CD, yes.
Mabait
So,
niyo.
it's actually ang mabait yung aming our audience. Our audience,
Actually, pag kuha nila ng CD, may tax yun. No?
Ganon.
Joke.
May additional bayad pala.
but what happened to our group is really an anomaly, if you can say that. It's a vocal group. It's usually,
wonderful
diba,
anomaly.
it's usually nasa fringe lang tayo. But the fact that we have this career, that it's
Yeah.
still here, and people still buy our albums, and we come to our shows, it is not it's not irony, but the blessing is not lost on us. We really have to acknowledge that this is really quite an exception. Everyone says past 30 you're done,
But
you
this
know,
is the company. When you reinvent yourselves, you keep yourselves relevant. Let's look at the song you just released, May I Have This Dance? I mean, I just learned it's a song from 1979 by Vic Soto.
that's right. And back then he was called Marvick.
Vic. So why did you pick this song? What made you
It was a
think
suggestion by one of our good friends in the industry, Sylvia Macaraeg. She's a backup singer also, a partner of the person who, Babsi Molina, I mentioned her earlier. And she said, you know, there's this song because everyone does VST and Company songs. You know, these are OPM dance classics. But yung VST po, I think the Soto brothers were also involved in the writing and production of those iconic albums. And Vic Soto, or Marvick Soto, became like the Andy Gibb of the Soto brothers. He released a solo album of OPM dance tunes, and that wasn't as big as Isasayaw, Awitin Mo't Isasayaw Ko. But it was a pretty and good song, and Viva said, you know what? Do this, but do it in the style of mala pentatonics. So
Yes.
it makes it more
And in
contemporary.
your video, so much fun. You guys, I love the
you
style,
saw
the
it?
hairdo, so much fun. And you have Mike Salomon on this, no?
That's right.
I remember seeing him
he's-
recently in Rack of Ages. Galing niya.
Oh my gosh.
Galing niya talaga.
He was the musical director of Rack of Ages.
Yes.
And
So here he does a lot of the
beatboxing.
beatboxing. Yes.
Correct. And I think this week he's in Taiwan doing King Lear.
Wow.
He's amazing. He is a genius. Mike
He was
Salomon.
my student in trumpets.
Wow.
That's right. That's
So
right.
He was a teenager.
And we also
You trained him well.
yes,
And
yes,
he was
yes.
good.
Yeah.
Ang dami yung estudiantes. Christian.
Christian Karil.
Karil. So
So you guys have done so much. Some dream songs, dream projects you're thinking of?
Oh, to work again with Lea Salonga, to work again with Ryan Kiabiab, to work again with the Manhattan Transfer. That
Yeah.
would blow our minds. I mean, we've
And to guest again here.
Oh, well, that's not a dream. Please, you can be here every week.
oh, you're sweet. But
a dream come
seriously,
true for me.
next year is our 30th anniversary. May we knock on your door?
Please.
Thank
It's
you.
always fun to have music
Nangontrata
here.
na, no?
Please. And
Talagang
this holiday
swapang.
season, I mean, music really just, it's a universal language. So wonderful to have you here. Thank you for sharing
Thank you.
your wonderful selves with us.
And I meant it, no bull. We are fans of your show and this station. You're doing great work. So thank you for having us, and we're grateful. Thank you,
Thank
Mitzi.
you, and we are fans of you. Thank you again to the company, Sweet, Moy, Cecil, J, and Annie of the company here tonight. And that's News Cafe for all of you tonight. See you next Thursday. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening.
Pagdating sa sayaw, ako'y lagi na lang nilalamangan. Maraming magaling sa iyo ay natulungan. At lahat ay nakaligid sa iyo hanggang sa magumagahan. Hanggang umaga, di man lang ako makasingit kahit minsan. Mahinang magdala, kaya ipagpasensya na. Pagkakataon ko na'y ngayon lang. Sige na, ngayon lang. May I have this dance? Ngayon lang. May I have
Welcome to News Cafe. I'm Mitzi Borromeo. Tonight, we've got Asia's premier vocal harmony act, the most awarded recording vocal group in the Philippines, with 46 music industry awards received in the group's 29-year lifespan. Welcome to News Cafe, the company. Hello. Hello, guys. So we have Annie Quintos, Moy Ortiz,
Here.
Sweet Plantado. Of course, we have Jay Marquez and Cecil Bautista. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Finally, I've been wanting to have you all
I'm
here.
a fan of the show, Mitzi.
And I'm a fan of the company. Now let's start on how this group started. No, mostly it was formed in Ateneo. No,
That's
Moy,
right.
tell us
Annie?
about it.
Well, back in back last year.
Back during the Japanese time.
Yes. Well, we were part of the Ateneo College Club, Cecil, Moy, and myself. And after we had graduated, we still wanted to continue singing. So although we did have jobs then, we'd meet every Friday and just rehearse and sing and, just for that void. There was a void that we wanted to fill.
Withdrawal symptoms from choir singing.
All of you were in the choir. That's
Right.
So after a few months had passed, parang nothing was happening. We were just rehearsing. So we needed an audience. And one of the members then owned
Italian Village. That's like a restaurant.
Yeah. All of you,
Cecil.
practically.
Yes.
No?
Yeah, Cecil
But
Annie was-
when I was there, they weren't teaching na eh. But I would see you, hi, the company, mga ganun pa ako.
As
Yes,
I said,
hi, the company.
we are the old timers.
Yes, yeah, and then I was still in school, but I was teaching the pop, the kids who want pop and musical theater. And then after that, si Mr. C again, Mr. Ryan Kebiab, and let me join Tanghalang Pilipino CCP. So theater.
Yeah.
My theater life began 1993. And then I joined trumpets 94.
Yeah.
And then 96 was Metro Pop. There I
Yes, you won the second prize. That was the
Ayun,
second
ganun ba?
prize for
It's
Shine.
Yes,
By Trina
by
Bellamide, the
Trina
Metro
Impeccable
Bellamide,
research there.
the composer of Now That I Have You.
You all have similar music influences, no? I mean, you've also. Do you
you'd be
think? No.
surprised. You'd be
Who would? Yeah.
surprised.
Let's see. What were some of your favorites for you?
I'd always listen to the Carpenters, Barbara Streisand, and a lot of classical music.
Yeah.
But you were also... no, that's Sweet. Sweet is into musical theater.
Yes, and also Manhattan Transfer
Yes,
because my parents are
Basha.
musicians. So,
So it's in
so
the
old
blood.
soul ako.
Oh,
You
so
forgot
grew
to
up with
tell
that.
Mitzi, you are also a film actress. Tell them.
daming-
she had a
daming
debut
persona.
film.
Many
Doobie
I know,
Doobie Doo.
it's 2 years ago. I was part of this
okay.
movie musical, I Doobie Doobie Doo.
Ah, yes, of
The
course.
Apple
one, right?
tribute.
Oo, maraming
Movie musical.
experience. Oo.
Huh?
Ikaw, Jay.
I think the one thing we have in common is the Manhattan Transfer. I remember
Yes.
watching a TV show, I think it was 1978, and I saw them in a kids show, maybe Electric Company. They guested and they sang Operator, and I got hooked into harmonies.
Life. But for most of them, they didn't have any plans of getting into this in a professional way. It just happened that one referral led to another referral. So some people, the people who left said, we didn't sign up for this. This was meant to be like a therapy club, and it's becoming professional. So people left, and they had other life goals, so to speak,
careers.
life goals.
Yes.
So, but Annie and I are from that batch, from the 1985 batch, and we're the old timers in the group, and these are the new.
Ang kuya at ate.
So kuya and ate. So yun.
In terms of the genre, it's hard to classify you. Of course, the vocal. I mean, you guys touch on everything. How would you classify? Would anyone like to talk about what? Because you guys just really do all musical genres.
Well, I wasn't part of the group in 1985, but I do know that they were categorizing themselves as a jazz group. In fact, they were so snooty at that time that they would choose the hardest pieces imaginable, and they would perform intricate harmonies. So much so that people, well, let's say it now, some people really couldn't relate, and they had a hard time getting an audience.
They couldn't get a job.
Elitist
Yeah.
kayo.
Yeah,
No,
there were
just
instances where they performed to
Just
nearly parang tables and chairs lang talaga. Like you tell me.
Imagine that.
Really?
And now sold out shows. Imagine once upon
God
a
is
time.
good.
So
Yeah.
over the years, we've learned to reinvent ourselves and do more pop singing as directed by our producers so that we could be radio accessible because that's the way to go, so that people would be familiar with our music, we had to be on radio and on TV. And if you were doing purely jazz, that's really not the way to go.
Difficult.
Now let's talk about your individual experiences, because all of you are really talented. You've come, as you said earlier, some of you are backup singers. Everybody, I think, was in a choir. Jay, maybe you were also in a choir.
I was in a choir in high school in Lourdes, Mandaluyong.
Yeah.
And then in De La Salle, I also joined the De La Salle Chorale for a while. And then I got into musical theater.
You're with another band also, Q&A, before you
Yes, a
joined.
Q&A.
Really did your
Noisy
research.
I have to do my research. It's scary. I'm with a company.
Yeah, Q&A and Noisy Neighbors, and I was a voice talent for commercials as well.
Yes, you and Moy also, right? Moy, you've done commercial jingles, commercial corporate jingles. How
You
is
know,
that?
early on, like our mentor, aside from Ryan Cabiab, there's this well-respected working musician called Babsi Molina. She did backup for everyone for 4 decades. Early on, she told me, the more you have to offer in this industry, the more jobs you get. And that really stuck with me. So anything that's possible. I mean, right now we teach, Sweet and I teach at Mint College. But you know, from arranging to producing albums and producing live concerts. What else do I do? Musical direction and all.
You write a lot of
Compose,
songs.
right?
Yeah,
I
you
write
compose
songs,
and-
yeah. So, I mean, the more skills you have, the more jobs you get. And just like any other industry.
Yes. Sweet, you're
The
also...
queen of reinvention. She does everything. You ask
Choir
her.
daw. I was in
teacher.
UP College of Music, and then my teacher was Ryan for music theory, and then he got me to teach in his school, the Ryan Cabiab Music Studio.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
Italian
Yeah.
restaurant.
And she said, "Oh, we can only pay you with pizza and pasta."
When you're a student, hey,
Yes,
that's
why
not
not?
bad.
So we did a Friday gig for about a month, and it was in that
One of those Fridays.
one of those Fridays.
Yeah.
Ryan Cabiab, who's a friend of the a
the
friend,
Glee Club,
said, "Why don't can I use you for show?" He was musical director of, and this was for Celeste's
Celeste Legaspi at the
Okay.
Cultural Center of the
at the
Philippines.
yes. So that was in 85.
85 pa lang yan, ah.
85 pa lang yan,
Go.
This is an
85.
hour show, so
2 decades ago,
we got the
we'll walk
time.
through your
We got the
memory lane.
So from there, one thing led to another. Our director there said, I'd like to use you guys as well. We were backup singers at that point.
That's right.
So there's one Celeste Legaspi and 12 of us.
We were
Imagine
12.
12.
Yes. And so one show led to another, and eventually, I think by the 3rd year or 4th year, we said, let's try to have at least one number with
As headliner, not just
not as backup singers.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, we really love
Nothing
doing that
wrong,
work.
but we also wanted to show
we
that
had other aspirations. So to
Oh,
speak.
yes.
So to speak.
So from there, I think it was in 1990
Yeah.
that we had our first recording.
It was 5 years to get our
Yeah.
recording deal.
Yeah.
And from 12, you went to 6 to 5. Then there were 5.
And then
What
there were
hap-
5.
What happened? Why did that? I mean, of course, it grew.
This
over the
really
years.
wasn't a I mean, me personally, I have to fess up with them. Ever since as a child, I mean, I wanted to be a harmony singer. I knew that was what I was gonna do with my life.